Bien, muy buenas tardes. Les saluda Luis Amado desde aquí del estudio de Amigos de Cero Radio, la voz de la comunidad en South Park. Y estamos aquí acompañados esta tarde de un equipo de trabajo de Guatemala Village Health que hace un laborioso trabajo muy interesante allá en Guatemala. Y aquí estamos hoy, guatemaltecos y norteamericanos, haciendo un equipo de trabajo porque el poder hace la fuerza y cuando trabajamos unidos podemos lograr grandes cosas a nivel mundial. Así que estoy muy contento de tener aquí a distinguidos amigos tanto de Guatemala como de Estados Unidos, miembros de Guatemala Village Health. No se olvide, por favor, encontrarnos en la página web como www.adsradio.org y en las redes sociales, en Facebook como Amigos de Cero Radio, en YouTube y en Twitter y en Instagram como Amigos de Cero Radio. Buenas tardes, bienvenidos y vamos a presentarnos quién es esta delegación que esta tarde nos visita aquí en el estudio de Amigos de Cero. Buenas tardes, ¿cómo están? Y vamos a empezar con las damas. Jennifer, welcome to Amigos de Cero Radio.
Buenas gracias por invitarnos a platicar con ustedes. Yo soy Jennifer Hook, un doctor de medicina familiar y cofundador y director de programas de Guatemala Village Health, que es una ONG de aquí que trabaja en las aldeas rurales, las aldeas mayan en Guatemala para mejorar la salud de los aldeanos. Y trabajamos en los aldeas muy, muy lejanos, en las montañas, donde no hay electricidad, ni servicio celular, ni ningún método para llamar en emergencias. Queremos compartir un proyecto que estamos haciendo.
Gracias, Jennifer. Gracias, Jennifer. Bien, y ahora le vamos a preguntar a Diana que si nos puede hablar un poquito de lo que es Guatemala Village Health en las redes sociales.
Buenas tardes, como mi amigo aquí me dice, mi nombre es Diana Orellana, nací en Guatemala, soy de la parte de Izabal, Puerto Barrios, y conocí a aldeas sanas de Guatemala, en inglés sería Guatemala Village Health. Como les digo, les conocí hace 12 años y he estado viajando con ellos, haciendo viajes de salud y ayudar a los niños y adultos en las aldeas que se encuentran en las montañas sin acceso alguno con lo que es la salud y el bienestar para los niños. Como les digo, tengo 12 años haciendo viajes y esas aldeas pues son sumamente remotas y pues les conocí y estamos trabajando para poder brindar y llevarles maneras de salud, educación y formas de cómo ellos puedan seguir sus vidas más saludables.
Muchas gracias, Diana. Bien, y ahora vamos a dar la bienvenida a Sam.
Buenas tardes, me llamo Sean Murphy. Lo siento, mi español es no so bueno. Inglés es pequeño más bueno para mí.
Bien, y luego continuando con esta entrevista de Guatemala Village Health, vamos a dejar a Diana para que ella sea la presentadora en inglés, ya que tenemos un alcance de comunidad americana que existe a las galas de Guatemala Village. Yo he tenido la oportunidad de estar ahí, la verdad que es súper bueno. Invito a toda la comunidad latina que nos está escuchando que compren sus tickets y que participen en los eventos que realiza Guatemala Village, ya que esos fondos que se reúnen van para las familias desposeídas en Guatemala. Y qué mejor satisfacción que ayudar a nuestro país. Y queremos agradecer a Guatemala Village Health por ese valioso trabajo que hace en Guatemala. Adelante, Diana.
Well, so hello. Like I was saying earlier, I'm part of this organization, which is an area where I feel that I can give back to the communities back there. I was brought here to the States at a very young age, and I just felt that the need to learn as much as I can here and then also share it over there. So one of the challenges that I encounter in Guatemala, especially in these areas and these villages, is the fact that they are disconnected from the world by not having no electricity. And so once I met Sean, he had the idea of bringing this tower of internet and so forth. And so there is being a lot of work and planning, and there being a lot of challenges and so forth for that. So he is one of the person, and then among there is a lot of people that have helped tremendously to try to make this challenge not be a challenge for the villages. And then that's one thing. And then the second is Jennifer. She's a medical doctor. She also brings the knowledge to villages and prepare them for education and with the nursing and health and so forth. And so now they're like they make this group and help them to become better and so forth. So now Sean can tell us a little bit more about how he became part of this idea of this tower with provides like internet to these areas where there's none.
Well, thank you, Deanna. Since we started working in these villages about 10 years ago, we'd been trying to figure out how to bring a system of communication, but it was looking like it was going to be very expensive with, we tried looking at cellular and other options, but finally the technology got cheap enough. And we also found a foundation that would help with our funding. And from my own, I had enough knowledge to be able to figure out how to put the system together. And then our team in Guatemala, they found a used communication tower on Facebook. And also we have someone down there who knew how to install it. And those guys worked really hard building this tower on top of a mountain to get the internet signal over the mountain. And over the mountain into the villages, including where we have a health center. And so the villagers were able to help us. It was a really good thing. The project was in several phases. The first phase was to bring internet to this clinic. And this clinic will eventually become a legitimate puesto de salud in collaboration with the Ministry of Health. And also we're bringing the internet we brought it to a middle school, Basico. And so I'm hoping that later this year, we'll have a second phase and we'll be able to bring it to 9 more schools. And so we're really excited about that.
So Sean, what will it mean to bring internet to these villages? You talked a little bit about how it will come to the health center. What will they be able to do in the health center that they can't do now? And what will happen to the villagers and their ability to communicate?
Well, it means that the health center and the schools, they're each going to have a Wi-Fi hotspot with a fast network connection, 4 megabits, that will support healthcare and education. It also means that at these hotspots, we'll have a visitor net, and that will be free for people to use to send messages or call for help. The visitor net is slow, but it's great for WhatsApp text messages or voice calls, and that's what's most important for communications. And then by sharing our new tower on the mountaintop with the local internet provider, it means that people in the village who can't afford to get internet service, they'll now be able to get internet service from the internet service provider who's going to use our tower. They'll be able to get that service in their homes and maybe even set up an internet cafe. Of course, there are many people who cannot afford the internet service, and that's why we have the free internet visitor net at the school and at the clinic that people can use.
Wow, it sounds like this was a pretty expensive project. How much did it cost to sort of put this together, and where did you find the resources?
Well, the hard part was building the tower to get the internet signal over the mountain, and it's 4 miles shot from the city to the tower, and then another 4 miles to the clinic. The tower costs about $5,000 to build, but it will serve probably about 8 or 9 villages in several valleys. And we have a deal worked out with the internet service provider where he's going to give us free data for the schools and health centers, and then we're letting him use the tower to put antennas on for him to sell internet. And the equipment to transport the internet signals actually gotten a lot cheaper. For just $300, you can get a pair of radios that will shoot the internet signal 10 miles. It's pretty amazing what the technology does. The hard part is getting the solar and getting the tower to mount the radios on. And actually, the expensive part is probably the solar, because that's going to be about like $1,500 for every location, like for every school where we put it.
So then for each school, basically you have to install the radios and then for the signal, and then also the solar system to provide electricity. So how much does that cost, and what kind of equipment will the school have to help with education?
Well, thank you. So yeah, to finish the job, it's probably going to take us about $2,500 per school. And with that $2,500, we will add the solar power at the school since there's no electricity. We'll add the internet network equipment, and we're also going to put a large screen television on the wall in one classroom at each school. And also, we're working on getting some computers donated so that there will be a few computers in the classroom. Yeah.
Deanna, since you've been involved with this organization for a long time, maybe you could tell us, from the perspective of someone who's lived in both Guatemala and the U.S., a little bit about the organization.
Well, I can tell you. Well, thank you first. I can tell you this organization is how I would say it, I would describe it like a bridge to a lot of areas that are in need, not just need of like clothing, anything like that, but more like knowledge. So that's why I became part of this organization, because I feel like it's a bridge for to get all these villages to better education, healthcare, and just so that way they have more access to what I had when I was a little girl. I had when I was in the main town. So these villages now can communicate to like the local hospitals, to pharmacists, and so forth in case of any emergency. So I am very pleased and excited with this big project. It's big, but now it's just like it's here and it's unbelievable. So yeah, I'm excited for that. And so yeah, this organization is a truly hard working volunteers. Is everything is based of volunteers and a lot of people that have seen the results, and because they see the results, therefore it's being sustained for this many years. And here I am. And as a Latina and as Guatemala, and now I live in two worlds, which is here and in Guatemala, then I feel 100% very very confident that this is a legit and organization that will obtain help, but will provide it to those that I need in those areas. And so yeah.
So, and I can just share a little bit about the structure of our organization. We are a Seattle-based nonprofit, but we have a sister organization, a nonprofit association called Aldeas Sanas Guatemala, which is based in Santiago, Zacatepeques in Guatemala. Our organization here is more than 10 years old, actually closer to 15, but the organization down there we are just developing with the intention to move the focus of operations down to a Guatemalan-run organization. We try very hard to make sure that our activities are sustainable and not just serving the needs of people who want to come down and help, but actually serving the communities that we work with. We provide during visits with North American health teams, some clinical care, but we also have ongoing programs for things like contraception and chronic disease, like diabetes and hypertension. We work directly in collaboration with the Ministry of Health for vaccines and pregnancy care and birth control. We do a lot of health education. We work in the schools. We have a babies program to provide nutritional supplements and watch their growth and development. And then we have a whole group of public health projects where we put water filters and composting toilets and smokeless stoves in homes that already exist and help them work on other things to make their homes more healthy. We've worked in about 30 different villages in Guatemala over the years, but we currently are focused in the Ellis Store, in the area up above Ellis Store in the mountains, where we have about 10 villages that we work with. Just to clarify, we're not part of a church. We're a secular organization, and we do work with the Ministry of Health. I wonder, Deanna, do you have a sense of what this might mean to the community when we are there working with them? Just from your own experience of being a child growing up in a community like this in Guatemala?
Oh wow, this is like I say early, it's huge. It's amazing because with this they are going to have a chance to get help when they need it, not just medical but like educational. Like having those computers being donated. Uh, and then have all these kids now, like when they're done with school, now they have a place they can go and look for homework and do assignments and so forth. It's gonna help them tremendously, and amazing. It's just amazing to see the joy that all these kids are like now that they're gonna have at least for right now they have one computer and they go and like research and learn more things, get better with math and language and so forth. It's just like a whole world that is being brought to them. And but yeah, it's to me, it's I'm very happy, and I know for a fact that they are very excited for this huge opportunity that is being brought to them by the help of so many volunteers, so many donations. And yeah, it's amazing. If this is something that's done, I can only imagine all the other things that are ahead for them. So yes.
Sean,
I have any question for you. For example, a lot of students is DACA. These
Mhm.
people DACA is possibly traveling to Guatemala. You help to the students for traveling to Guatemala too?
Well, I think like right now the organization is focusing on the villages down there, right? But of course, as we go and see the results, and then we have more donations and people that can guide us, then yeah, in the near future, we can probably provide for people that that are here or students from Dhaka. Maybe they can travel there and share whatever knowledge they have, and that is always welcome. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I asked the question because sometimes some DACA call me and it's possible like volunteer or traveling to Guatemala in collaboration with any non-profit for health and development in Guatemala.
Oh.
But it's the long process because I need to send a letter for immigration. Also need the help into the lawyer for the process. But it's very formal when any organization sign up the letter and approve this propose for traveling to Guatemala.
We have done that. Like we actually have helped kids in Guatemala and have helped them come here and get like get them in school or something, like learn like a skill, and then they finish for like, for example, 6 months, and then they go back and then they put in practice the skills they have learned and achieved here in the States. They go back, and then that's how we also help for the education. And then yeah, like I don't know, now Jennifer, she's more knowledgeable when it comes with the immigration and those questions. But yeah, so what can you tell
yeah,
us?
I do know a little bit about the DACA process, and we certainly would be open to anybody who would love to come down and volunteer and help, like Deanna has, be able to bring full circle the people who've come up here and taken had some of the advantages of being in the U.S. to take them back to their communities. So yeah, you can feel free to reach out to us, and we can work with you on that process. And that segues nice into what are other ways that people might get involved with the organization. Sean, maybe you want to talk a little bit about what kinds of volunteer help we're looking for here in the States?
Yeah. And this internet project, for me at least, it's been really exciting because it just changes it changes the world. They can do a medical consult when they're out in the middle of the villages and get somebody who hurts themselves and they don't know how to handle it. They can get on the phone and do a video call. It just changes everything. It's amazing. I even got a video today from somebody, in the village. Before you had to, it would take days, it's amazing. But yes, we do need some volunteer help. Ideally, it would be, someone who could maybe donate 4 hours of time of a week, if somebody had 4 hours a week. And I'd really appreciate a bilingual person because my Spanish is not very good. And someone who could kind of help me or work with me or even take control and lead something. And if they had experience in like with either maybe education or teaching or in the school system somehow, because I want to work with the Ministry of Education in Guatemala and the schools. We're trying to get internet to the schools. Or if you had technical experience in networking or maybe solar energy or computers or even ham radio, because we also want to do some radio communications in the village as well for areas where there isn't internet signal actually. So I'd like to expand the effort to more villages and schools, but that'll take time and effort. But with the right volunteer, I think we can expand it to more villages. And that would be wonderful if we could do that.
Yeah, and I think we'll of course take any kind of volunteer help. So if this project interests you or any of the other projects that we've sort of mentioned, either people here or people in Guatemala who would like to volunteer, we have we have our team. We have 8 people who work down in the country who people can join in with and help out in a variety of ways. I think we're really excited about this internet project, and I think really want to work as quickly as we can to get the internet signal into the schools and to bring the ability for teachers to use this. But we also need to help train the teachers and that sort of thing. So if you have any education interest, that would be terrific also. I did want to mention that we have a fundraising event coming up in the 1st of June. It will be at the Daybreak Cultural Center up in Discovery Park in the evening. So that's another way for folks who are financially able to contribute to the organization. You can get a ticket. Well, we have the invitation up on the website. And if you just go to our webpage, there's all kinds of information about that and all the other projects that we do. And that webpage is basically GuatemalaVillageHealth.org. So if you just type the whole name of our organization.org, that will get you there. And it's in both Spanish and English. So if people want to try, if people are not bilingual, the information is there as well.
Yeah, and that's on June 1st.
Yeah, so that event is on June
Thursday
1st. We also do have a Guatemalan Independence Day celebration in the fall in September. So we'll come back and talk to you about that, I'm sure. Because we have a great relationship with Amigos de Seattle Radio, fortunately. And we really love sort of sharing our love of Guatemala with Luis and all of you folks. I don't know if you guys had any other final comments.
Well, and if anybody wants to check out the video, we have a pretty cool video that shows the communication tower, getting set up and a little bit about what's involved. And I have to admit, the tower was the hardest part of this project. Bolting the antennas on was a lot easier, but my hat goes off to the Guatemalans who made the construction of this tower possible and who hiked 1,000 feet up this mountain carrying sacks of concrete to make this happen. A lot of hard work. It was fantastic work and a fantastic job. And
this is a pretty exciting demonstration of the persistence and strength of the Guatemalan people, because as you can see, these mountains are pretty wicked.
Guatemala Village Health has been working deep in the mountains of Guatemala for over a decade, where there are many villages that have no electricity, no cell signal, and no ability to call for help in emergencies. These villages, located north of Ellis Store and Isabel, have no communication for consultation or emergency support. Recognizing this need, we have been working for the past year to design and install a system to deliver high-speed internet to the villages. A new tower relays signal from Ellis Store to our clinic in Chinachapulcoch. This difficult terrain requires 2 segment links and an additional repeater near the clinic. As part of the system, we are also providing internet to the nearby Sakaka Middle School since the tower is built on their land. In the future, we will also feed internet to the schools in all of the villages in the area where we work. Nimlobenke, Markahan Middle School, Chinachapulcoch, Chinabenke, Chapulcoch, and Salanzana. Using state-of-the-art wireless communications equipment and design software, we developed a system to transport the internet signal through radio links. We started by building a new internet radio tower on a mountain peak near Sakaka. This required clearing jungle vegetation. In August of 2022, we did an exploratory survey, blazing a new trail.
Guatemala Cultural, Folclor de Guatemala Seattle Internacional, de Aimé Fuentes, presenta este segmento de música de Guatemala.
Local visitors cleared the way and set up our temporary radio link to confirm that communication with the clinic would be successful. System testing showed that this was going to be a good site for the tower. To create a base for the tower, village volunteers carried heavy bags of sand, cement, and water up to the top of the mountain. The tower was built in 2 separate segments, a 6-meter base with a 6-meter top erected above it. We'll have to make frames to mount the solar panels onto the tower. We mount solar panels onto the tower to maximize their effectiveness and deter theft and vandalism. Weather in the jungle is unpredictable. You never know when a tropical rainstorm might pop up unexpectedly. But it's all part of the job or adventure. No worries. 10 minutes, the downpour moved on, and we were able to continue our work. Okay, we're getting ready to go up the mountain. I'm sitting here wondering what I forgot. This is the big day of all the days here. Let's hope it goes well. Now that the tower is constructed, we have to install all of the hardware on it. First, there are the solar panels. Then there's the cabinet that contains all the electronics and the lithium battery. Then, all the other tools, wires, cables, and of course, safety gear. Next, all of this has to be hauled up to and our amazing and fearless team installing the first 4 solar panels. And then the cabinet with the charger and inverter, and also the battery to store the energy for those rainy days.
Estamos en vivo.
Oh. ¿Nosotros no tenemos ahí?
Sí.
Sí.
That's me.
That's you. So,
Drone shot. In the Pueblo of Bella Store, internet signal is obtained from Zona X headquarters. Here, a Zona X employee mounts our dish on the tower. At the Chinatocho's clinic, the rugged terrain prevented clear line of sight to the main tower, so it was necessary to build a small repeater tower. Here, our tower expert, Mario, aligns the dishes.
oh my God. So scary.
The battery, charger, and
high.
power supplies are in a small doghouse at the base of the tower. Deep in the mountains is a Chinatocho's health clinic, the only source of health care for the surrounding villages, which was constructed by Guatemala Village Health with support from New World Villages and a grant from the William E. Walker Foundation. The first order of business was to install solar power. We added 4 panels on the roof, the electrical distribution panel, wiring between the floors, and also batteries and an inverter. Internet power supplies and small network switches mounted on the wall. Our team volunteer Joey is seen connecting the very first Wi-Fi hotspot in the entire valley.
Nice.
And finally, here we are plugging in the last
I love that.
internet
I love it.
miles to the village where there has never been any cell service or other communications. Everyone got excited when they realized they could make internet phone calls on WhatsApp right there. They were so happy. Siacaca is a beautiful village located where the Rio Sase makes its way through a narrow canyon to Lago Isabel. Because the tower sits on Siacaca land, it was a high priority to connect the middle school in the first phase. The Rio Sase flows through a beautiful canyon below the village. The Siacaca village leaders, including the middle school director, teacher, and mayor, were very happy to receive internet. An equipment panel brings internet signal into the classroom and community hotspot. Siacaca already had solar panels and even some computers in the middle school classroom. The computers saw internet for the first time during our visit. Many students were getting their first exposure to learn to use the internet for finding information and learning. Yeah.
Look at this.
Well, Son, that was a pretty impressive video you put together, I have to say.
It was an amazing project. A lot of fun.
Congratulations. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's very exciting to see it work.
It's great to see when two worlds become one, and
Yeah.
this is the results. It's
Yeah.
just it's
The-
amazing.
The villagers were so happy. They're making phone calls to like 10 at night. I mean, everybody was clustered around the building. You know, people. Yes.
That's
amazing.
great. That's
Okay.
amazing. Well, like you guys, if you guys have a chance to look at the video or like reach us out, you can either do it by email or phone number or any other source. But you guys can see that any work of any skills that anyone would like to volunteer to share are more than welcome. We are here to provide and help everyone down those villages to make their life a little bit better. Not just us, like giving the tools, but also like help them to get those talents that every kid down in those villages have. And so I love doing those things, and I hope we can get somewhere with you guys, and anybody can come in and join our teams and help out to make those kids smile bright.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
letting us share
Thank you so much,
with
Luis. And
you a little bit of what we're doing.
everybody at Amigos de Seattle, thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank you.
Gracias.
You're welcome to.
Gracias.
You're welcome every time.
Gracias.
Muy bien.
Gracias por invitarnos.